preclude.
could.
But if you don't want to compete with each other, then you put one in.
The reality is
And
computing.
getting that group in the same corral, agreeing on the same project is, you know, we've made huge progress really for the time we started.
The group does work well together.
Yeah. But by April or whatever it is, to try to figure out an application
And, you know.
amongst the 9 IRWMs to agree on, this is what we want to ask for. Because you'd ask for $4.963 million.
That, we probably
Or-
asked for the 45, you know, 4 million, you know, we'd ask for the bigger, the general implementation projects. We
What's
try.
disappointing about all this Prop 1 stuff is the Mountain County region's got really nothing compared to, I mean, I look at the Prop 50 grant, that was a $7 million grant. That we, you know, the Forest Service got some of that, a lot of people got some of that, but that was just us. And I'm looking at that number 4963 going, you know, and we didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg about our needs with the Prop 50.
Well, so that's why we're using it as seed money. It's not realistic, but with these other huge
No,
bonds coming down, then it makes sense.
But that really speaks to the inequities. The Mountain County funding area got like $13.1 million, and the next lowest funding area in California got $36 million, and then they went up from there. So we were the lowest by quite a bit, and yet we have some of the highest valued resources that come from our areas. And so as you go forward doing your work, whatever you do, you know, really, one of the conversations at the state level is looking at the need for urban investment in headwaters communities to take care of their sources.
A water source for
Yeah.
them.
And so that inequity, to me, is one of the most important things and one of the most important conversations right now that we need to be having both state and federally.
Well, that's-
Are the investments that rural communities like ours need to manage our forests and water systems.
Well,
Well, you
what's-
guys have just led into something that I've been sitting here trying to keep my body moving.
Well,
Showing my level of
I'm not saying
frustration.
this is a good subject, because
But
it's
no, but
disappointing.
here's the
Yes.
thing. And I was glad to see this on here because I was gonna probably violate the Brown Act and talk about it anyway. But I think that we have reached the point where we really need to take Department of Water Resources on for how these things are allocated in the first place. I think we, you know, it's kind of like, they say, well, we're willing to give you this, we're real kind, and we set this area where you guys all have to work together, and it's this huge area, 9 IRWMs, with almost no funding available. And to me, it's the most ridiculous expectation. I hear what you're saying about seed money, but it shouldn't be seed money. These 9 counties, or 9 RWMs, are the headwaters for all of the water that these people who are getting all the money aren't even going to need their stuff if they don't get the water. So I'm to the point where I think we need to take on being a little bit more aggressive and assertive, because otherwise, if these other propositions pass, we're going to be in the same boat. And to think we aren't, if we don't start making a lot of noise, is crazy. You know, because the squeaky wheel usually gets some attention. And I honestly think that we need to seriously start looking at banding with our brethren in other areas, because the more of us there are, the better. And just going to Department of Water Resources and really raising a stink about the fact that we are the headwaters. And, you know, we need this money, or we're not going to be able to do this because we are DACs, whether they like it or not. And if they want the water to flow down the hill to them and have it be clean, decent water, or any water at all, they're going to need to fund us some money instead of, you know, like you're saying, 13 to 36 million.
That was the next
gap.
lowest one.
I know, that's just out. I mean, I'm angry about it. as you
Well,
can
look
tell.
at the other
Yeah.
number up there, $1,300,000
Right.
DWR to administer.
That's exactly what I did look at, and I have it
That's
written down right
10%.
here.
They get 10% of the
You
allocation.
bet. And
How
you
many
know,
staff do they have at our meetings? There's like 6 or 7 sometimes, 8.
well, so what I'm getting at.
I'm not happy with the numbers.
What I'm getting at is, as you guys are meeting with these other brethren, you might, you know, see if they're of a mind that they would be willing to join with us as a coalition to go after really heavily lobby and get some of our state legislators involved and really take this on. I mean, we can't lose anything because they're not giving us
Right.
anything
Well,
anyway.
so we kind of talked about that. Here was the strategy that people came up with. Show that you can work together as a group. Go to that meeting in North Lake Tahoe the next week, when all the disadvantaged communities in the whole Sierra get together, talk about how we band together. Because what they've usually done is give a dribble over to this district and dribble over to that district. We weren't a unified group. That was really easy to buy off some people that could have made a difference with the legislature and chose not to because they got a gift.
Right.
And so a lot of this is getting organized as a group so somebody can't do that. And, pick areas off and take care of them. Like if you take care of Nevada County, you probably took care of the Sierra. Or you take care of Lake Tahoe, you took care of the Sierra. Those ideas have to go away or we don't get
Exactly.
anywhere. And
Exactly.
so that was the push for using this to build us as a region. That we are a region, you can't break us apart. We all have these needs. This is what they look like. So that's how it's seed money, but it's also organization money or political organization money, whatever you want to call it.
Good, because I'm
So we
really
get to be a
politically
group.
organized.
Yeah.
But basically, like I'm saying, I realize we can't change this fate, it's
No.
already settled. But I think we need to take this time, as you're saying, as we are meeting with our brethren, they're in the same boat, and kind of get an organized front going to try to lobby for the future.
Well, and that's the idea of submitting comments. So the group is gonna submit comments on this, and we're gonna take everybody to task on this whole, financing arrangement that they've come up with.
Right.
And then the other thing that we hope to do is all these grants come out with, comment periods. I haven't had a chance to talk to Randy, but just us, we might choose to comment on these grants and just keep reinforcing in their grant development what it is that we want and need. So we'll have to talk about, they're all coming real fast. to get
And
these
maybe
things.
what they need to do is look at realigning what regions are. How many
We already
IRWMs
talked
are
about
in
that,
there.
and we're stuck, the new California water plan, that the governor wants it finished before he leaves office. So we're stuck with this boundary for 5 more years. There's no doubt about that. So all we can work with is what Sierra Institute is working with, changing how they define eligibility for this money. And they're gonna be focusing real hard on that. And we have to show capacity to implement these grants, which is why we've had you guys here. And so we're trying to get the pieces together. We have to have good proposals that are solid. So if they go, we know that Frank's project or some other group of projects represents where we all wanna be, that we know that Frank can pull this off, with the help of the community
Right.
canal. So they gotta have a winner of a horse to ride and test ride.
Mhm.
And the Feather's in pretty high regard for what we've accomplished so far. So, we can't fix it overnight, and we're gonna have a whole new government and all kinds of things are gonna
Which
be
is why
happening.
it's the opportune time to start thinking
Yeah.
about positioning ourselves.
So that's how we're
to deal
using
with
it,
that.
using this money from DWR to help us be a more powerful player.
So I guess what I'm getting at, like I said, not expecting a decision today, but number one, as you're meeting with these folks and talking about these things, to start feeling out if they're willing to
Make some
Come
put their
together.
name on the line with Department of Water Resources, or if they're chicken to do that for fear they'll be cut out of everything or what. And then on our next IRWM meeting, I would like to have this agendized.
Okay,
So we get a report back and the potential to take action to start trying to form some kind of a coalition to lobby for better funding opportunities for the counties that are basically dire need and the headwaters for all of their water. And like you say, I think Boomis is positioned very well to lead something like this because we are recognized
we
for.
fight with DWR a lot.
That's it. They know who
They
we
know
are.
who we are. Yeah.
I think in the plan, everybody in this room and a lot of other people put together a lot of the needs of this area, from industry, ag, timber, tribal reviewing everything, it's already there, so we have a lot to work off of as far as showing the needs and showing that we have come together in the community and at some level.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think
So-
we're well positioned to move forward to do that.
So we'll report out to see how our efforts went in November.
And Lena and I will get together, talk about comments.
The group is gonna put comments in on this one, but we've got the Prop 68, which I think is a better chance for us, frankly.
Mhm.
We have, that comment period's open, so we have a lot of comments to write if we're gonna write them.
Right. Okay, well, I'm sorry for getting on my soapbox, but
No,
it just,
those
not
numbers
the
will
only one.
they'll
It can
put
only
you on
take
the
so
soapbox
long.
really quick.
I see
Well,
other
it's like-
people steaming.
It's
Yeah.
like investing everything in a wagon and nothing in the water.
that's exactly right. And then wondering why you didn't get to town.
So what is the sense of how mountain communities is gonna approach this round one? Are
Well-
they gonna compete with each other, or are they
Well,
gonna try to
you
put
know,
something together?
like I said, there's this one outlier that thinks they can go it alone, and
And take the
Every-
and
lion's share
somehow
of it?
take on all other 8 IRWMs and prevail against them. So, you know, it's sort of a classic glitch in growing as a unit. And I know Sierra Institute is kind of thinking about how they manage that, you know, you never not run into that. And catering to it doesn't make it get any less than it starts breaking apart the whole group. So, actually Lauren was whispering in my ear, but I couldn't hear her. So she's got an update that I'll find out about when I call her. But anyway, how to deal with that one group. But everybody else hasn't really said, you know, they know there's not enough money. So if we grow ourselves as a region, maybe we can get more money to our region. That's really clear on everybody. The other is the $5 billion that's gonna be coming down for forest stuff. And do we have the workforce development? Do we have all the pieces in place to actually get our hands on? When the money does show up, are we ready to get it? And so that's the part that I think the mountain counties is most interested in. How do we build our collective capacity for these huge amounts of money that are gonna come down so we can actually get some of it and administer it? And, you know, Community Development Commission is a piece. So we're working on the pieces, and a lot of people are looking to us to go, okay, this is a kind of a piece that could work. Here's a good project, we know it can be implemented. We got an entity that can grant and administer these projects. We have a way to, you know, work with our legislature. DW always listens when Columbus County picks up the phone because we're such a pain. And so, you know, just how do we do it? And how do we not get divided up? And do I know what the answer is? No, not yet. But each meeting I think, this is hopeless. And then by the end of the meeting, I'm like, everybody pulled it off, this next step that they were supposed to take. You know, and we're way ahead of, we started at the end. And DWR told us we're ahead of like 3 other IRWMs by now. We have moved that fast as a group, and that's pretty nice to hear.
Yeah, the region has really worked. I mean,
For a bunch of just
we talked
disorganized
about it for a
rural.
while, how they got together and made some agreements.
It was kind of amazing. The DWR is
It is amazing, because
amazing.
when it first
Yeah.
started, I was like,
Yeah, it's hopeless. It's hopeless out the gate, yeah.
these guys are gonna.
So we're
kill
not
each
dead
other.
yet, Joe? I guess I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're ahead of the San Joaquin. Way ahead of the San. We're even getting ahead of some of the stuff in other parts of the area.
Okay, anything else on this?
I could go through more details about the PSP, or folks that feel that it's talked through and it's not.
Any, what's your preference, more detail or?
I think what we're
Rainey
hoping
did
is
that.
Rainey and I'll get together with Uman by the 9th. If we have comments, we're supposed to get it to Liz by the 5th. So I guess I've got my homework for over the weekend. But if anything jumps out, you know, we have to get them. They're gonna coalesce them on the 9th and we're gonna put them in as a group, which is a big step. So.
Yeah, I don't wanna tell you this, but the 5th is getting really, really close.
I know. You know,
Be
too bad I
interesting
lost a
Monday,
week
huh?
in Chicago. What?
It'll be an interesting Monday.
Yeah, maybe. But you know, if everybody's saying the same thing and that we were gonna say, then we just go, yeah, amen.
Yeah.
And we wait for them to do it on the 9th,
Good.
you know. Okay. So it'll be red flag read, something we can't live with, otherwise we'll just roll with it.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Okay, this item, it's too bad that we're missing 2 of the county supervisors at the table. because this is the discussion of the funding for this RWM, and basically Uma's contracted to keep working with us. And early on, we had gone, if you remember, we had gone through a process trying to figure out how to assess of the budget, which portion, which county kicked in for. And up until this process, Lewis County had been funding the whole thing, either out of grant funding or out of general fund funding. So we felt that Sierra and View should pay some proportionate share, and we came up with a methodology. Well, View sent their money, thank you very much, and Plumas, of course, kicked in their money. We haven't heard anything from Sierra. So if anybody sees Supervisor Rowan, they might mention to him that we're still missing Sierra's contribution for the budget we're already spending. And that now we're gonna sooner or later be looking to the next budget. But that being the biggest problem is getting a funding stream to keep this work, which I think everybody can see an awful lot of good stuff is going on. But we still need that central person that keeps it all kind of tied together and running properly. So that was the purpose for this agenda item, is to give everybody the heads up that we will be, needing to come up with money again sooner or later, but that we're still missing the one contribution.
Well, we could tell him he's gonna have to be chairman if he doesn't.
I thought about that, and then he can explain.
Anybody
right.
have any thumb screws?
Russell left, we kind of did this.
Yeah.
Appointed.
But anyway, is there anything else you wanted to say on that? Okay, any other comments or anything before we adjourn? I thank everyone for your attendance and your
Next meeting
input.
day?
The next meeting date will be when we figure it out.
Okay.
And Uma will send it out to everybody.
Okay.
We're adjourned, thank you.
Thanks, Shirley.
You're welcome.
That CCM,